Welcome to Animates, a retro anime review comedy podcast. These episodes contain spoilers and adult language, so stick around if you're cool like that.
Hello and welcome everybody to a very special Christmas Eve episode of Animates. I would also like to say happy blessed Yule to all of my fellow pagans out there because we celebrated that over the weekend. I am your jolly host, Lindsay, followed by my nutcracker co-host, Mackenzie. Hello, Mackenzie.
What did you call me?
I called you a nutcracker.
I do like to bust your balls.
We're recording this not on Christmas Eve. Plot twist. I'm going to be with my German family eating Hackapeta. For those of you who don't know that, it's raw ground beef. Yes, German people are strange. Mackenzie, do you have any Christmas Eve traditions in your family?
Nope.
Oh.
Sit around, eat some snacks, maybe play some pool.
You always have like a cute dog that you send me snaps of.
Oh, Dad's got a dog and my mom's got a dog.
Is it the wiener dog?
No, that's my stepsister's dog.
Oh, well.
I'm sure that dog will be there as well.
Perfect. I expect pictures. So that's what Mackenzie and I are doing today. We're eating raw ground beef and sending pictures of wiener dogs. Mackenzie, I feel like it's Christmas Eve, so we need to do something Christmas Eve-y. And I mean, I feel like you kind of know what I've prepared this week because we have talked about it. We talked about it way back in June.
I was going to say a long time ago.
We talked about it a very long time ago, but we're bringing it because it seems appropriate for today. We are watching 2003 from director Satoshi Kon, Tokyo Godfathers.
Yay!
Yay! Yes. Because guess why? It takes place on Christmas Eve. So what better time to talk about this movie and review it?
Then now, yay!
Yay! You've never seen this one before, right?
Nope. I just know that it's about a baby.
Yep, there is a baby involved. Yes, so it takes place
2
on
weeks in a row where you're giving me a found family series here.
It is a found family series. So basically, the story takes place on Christmas Eve. There are three unhoused individuals: middle-aged alcoholic Jin, a transgender woman named Hana, and a teenage runaway called Miyuki. And they discover a newborn baby that's just been abandoned in garbage. And the story is about them it says, take whoever finds this baby, please take good care of her. And it leads to like a bag full of clues with the parents' identity. So it's basically them going around like just trying to find the baby's parents. And all of it is just happening on Christmas Eve.
But clearly the parents don't want to be found.
Well, they're going to find them anyway, because they lost their baby. They left it in a pile of trash. So yes, this is what we're going to watch this week. It's just something short, sweet, and in the season.
I know that it's a beloved anime Christmas film.
Mm-hmm.
I know last year we didn't have a lot of options for stuff that wasn't like mid-series Christmas specials of things we haven't seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when we upgraded our timeline to being up to 2005, one of the first things you said was like, for Christmas,
we're doing this.
We could do this one.
So many more options have opened to us. Yeah. I mean, I was like, I have no idea. We all know I've been freaking busy. So I'm glad I picked this one back in June so that I didn't have to spend time researching what to do.
Well, Satoshi Kon is, a classic.
He's an incredible director. I mean,
Paprika,
Perfect Blue.
Perfect Blue, yeah. Memories, which you did for Halloween.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of good stuff. He's a Japanese auteur, you could say.
So no, I think this is going to be good. A nice, easy Christmas episode about abandoned children.
Oh, man. Children in garbage.
So
what's better
Christmassy
than that?
It's like opening a trash stocking and finding a baby.
I mean, it's on the level of Christmas Carol with the Muppets and
I'll be the judge of that.
It is true. It is true. Well, let's go put on some flannel pajamas, pour some eggnog, maybe get a gingerbread cookie or two, and watch Tokyo Godfathers.
Alrighty.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We have just finished watching Satoshi Kon's Tokyo Godfathers. And Mackenzie, I have to ask you, did this one fill you with the Christmas spirit, or are you going to leave it in the trash and pretend like you never saw it?
So,
Oh, no.
first off, it's definitely a Christmas movie,
Oh, yeah.
but it's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it toes the line between drama and comedy on a razor thin wire. And unfortunately, most films don't tend to handle that very well.
No.
Fortunately, this one does.
It does. It's so, oh my gosh. It's funny because you'd think a story about 3 homeless people finding a dumpster baby on Christmas Eve wouldn't be a happy feel-good holiday film, but it kind of is.
Well, at times. Because, like, Satoshi Kon's ability to, like, seamlessly switch between, like, comedy and tragedy and then blend them at the same time should be studied, because the amount of emotional switching going on in this is insane.
Oh, man.
You would get fucking whiplash if, like, it was any further on how quick it's, like, left, right, left, right, left, right.
It's like a metronome.
Just, back and forth. You're like, oh, that's funny. Oh, that's depressing. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's depressing. Oh, that's depressing, but they're doing it in a funny way. Oh, that's funny, but they're doing it in a depressing way.
And yet, you don't feel really depressed and sad when you're finished watching this movie, which is nice.
No, you don't. And, like, you kind of, like, so you see a very, like, real depiction of the human condition when it comes to, like, emotional distress, homelessness, love, shitty human behavior, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's quite the spectacle. And at times, it did make me angry.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of the writing, but not directly. It was like some of the stuff people do or react as is very jarring as, like, characters, because this is the kind of shit I see in the real world quite often.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people being rude to homeless people for no fucking reason.
Just beating the shit out of them because Merry Christmas.
Yeah. So, like, yeah, there's some good happy ending stuff that goes on, but there is some rough stuff along our journey.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think the pain is what makes it a very human film and makes these characters so lovable, is that you see, like, they didn't just lose their homes, they, like, lost their families. And them kind of battling with that.
Yeah, because it's not like it was. And the thing I appreciate is they weren't just like, oh, circumstances out of their control for all of them. Some of them were in control of the problems that they had, and life got the better of them and they lost that control. And that's not to say you're bad if you lose that control. It's just nice to see a story about homeless people that's not just like, they're the fucking worst and everything's their fucking problem. It's like, look, sometimes shit happens and life just gets away from you.
Sometimes you accidentally stab your dad.
Look, we're going to get to that because I'm a little sympathetic towards that happening. I don't condone it, but I was a little sympathetic.
Sometimes you just need to stab your dad. No.
No, you don't. I'm joking, of course, but they'll understand later when we get to that part.
Your dad, unless.
Well, I'm sure there's sometimes that you need to.
Yeah, I was going to say, unless it's self-defense. You know what? This isn't a podcast about moral
No, we don't
morality.
need to get into this. We're not a true crime podcast.
Honestly,
could you imagine? Hold on. Could we ever do an episode where we take a series and then pretend we're in that world and be like a true crime about the crimes going down in that world in that series? Could you imagine being like Boogie Pop and like doing a true crime as if we live in the world of Boogie Pop?
Trying to figure out the mystery of Boogie Pop and Boogie Pop Phantom.
Yeah.
Man. Guys, would you like to see that? Let us know.
Anyways, so the film keeps with Satoshi Kon's usual style. Great style. It adheres really well to comedy and tragedy, as we've seen in Perfect Blue. His style's a bit different than some anime, but I love it because the faces are so damn expressive.
They are. I really appreciated that. I think with me, it was more, I think it was too flat for my liking, like in terms of the style of the art, but no, their faces are quite expressive.
Flat on the characters. They don't utilize a lot of shadow per se.
No.
But their expressiveness is quite exciting, even with subtle. And
even, because one of the things that Satoshi Kon uses in this is like the theory of animism and like everything having a soul. So even, you know, the buildings have faces and things like that, which is really cool. And it's like, it makes it so that like, it feels like, I'm saying like so many times.
Like,
But
oh my god, like Satoshi Kon is like such like look like oh my like
the weebiest Valley girl.
he's also a little self-masturbatory.
Really? Okay, wait, let me finish my point before
Okay.
we move on. But it's really cool to see the city kind of become its own character that's watching over them and taking care of these characters and things like that. I really liked that. And it just made everything feel much more warm. And I don't know, it made it almost as if the family that's being made is also like the city as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I really like.
No, I can see that because like there were so many quote unquote miracles happening that you were like something's watching them, looking out for them.
Yeah, Satoshi Kon really wanted to have meaningful coincidence in this film.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
It's also a little self-masturbatory because there are there's movie posters for his movies
For
and
Perfect
like
Blue.
and
Yeah.
not just Perfect Blue, his
that was
other
the only one I
films,
clocked.
and there's one for Tokyo Godfathers as well inside the film.
Wow, talk about insertion art.
Yeah, but also like I'm pretty sure you see a couple of the characters from the other films. A couple of times I clocked it and I was like, I'm pretty sure that person's from Perfect Blue.
Oh, cool. Tim Burton does that a lot.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying self-masturbatory is a bad thing. I just mean like he likes to
When
put
is
himself into
masturbatory
things.
ever a bad thing? Never mind.
I was gonna say, you ever seen someone on public transit whip it out?
It's true.
One
Don't
too many times, my
self-masturbatory
friends.
in public, my friends.
So we open up on like a Christmas church, like soup kitchen with like kids singing Christmas carols. Except the first visual we see is this terrifying like doll face. It's not actually scary, it's just really unnerving. And I was like, oh.
I know, you're like, I don't like this at all.
And this is also where we meet like our three main characters. So we've got Grumpy Man Jin, the young and cocky Miyuki, and a very religious trans woman, Hannah.
Who was your favorite? Is it too early to ask?
No, I don't know.
Oh, interesting.
Equally, the three of them have the same amount of flaws and also redeeming qualities. And they kind of act as like a single unit.
Yeah.
I think the one that annoyed me the most was probably Hannah.
Oh, I loved Hannah.
Oh, no. I need to make this very clear. I love Hannah, but just some of the like, you don't just find a baby and then be like, I'm going to raise it in a box. That at first was a little like, girl.
Yeah, she's not seeing like the full picture of like what that's all going to entail to raise a child and not live in a home.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, you need to take this somewhere. And at first I was kind of like, come on now. But I understood it and they did the right thing in the end. But yeah, it was a couple moments with Hannah where I was like, stop quoting Bible stuff and just bring the child to somewhere warm. Good Lord. But I do really like Hannah. I will say we watched the dub. And I appreciate that they actually got a transgender actor to play Hannah.
Oh, fabulous. I didn't notice that. I watched the sub.
Oh, you didn't tell me you were watching sub.
I just downloaded something. I just went, this is what we're watching.
Oh, usually with you like to watch the dubs, so I went for dub.
I know. Crispin Freeman is allegedly in the dub.
Yeah, he plays Miyuki's father.
Oh, cool. That would be a good.
He wanted to play Hannah, but they were like, "No, we're gonna get
like an actual trans person to play this."
Yeah, and now apparently there's a second English dub, like the original from like 2006.
Yeah,
and apparently it follows along with the Japanese version where they follow a lot of tropes with Hannah's voice, like the going really deep when they want to seem serious.
Yeah,
and stuff. But yeah, I didn't realize you watched the sub. That would have been nice to have known. I would have watched the sub.
Merry Christmas.
You surprised me, Lindsay. I'm curious if we have any transgender fans that want to comment on how they felt about the representation of Hannah as a character.
Yeah.
Because online, I read some people calling her representation transphobic.
Interesting.
But others were praising the film for showing someone who is trans and homeless being the most caring person in the film.
Mm-hmm. She has a lot of heart.
I tend to lean in that direction as well. There is some product of its time vibes in some scenes, but I don't think it was meant to be a mockery. I think it's meant to be like because it was usually people reacting to Hannah, and that is unfortunately a real world thing of the way people react to sometimes when they see trans people.
That's true, especially
because
in 2003.
They're the worst, not trans people, the people reacting.
No. Yeah, I again, this is coming from a cisgender woman, but I felt like they were very caring with Hannah and made her a very three-dimensional character. And she wasn't just there to be the butt of a joke. Like, she was a character that you actually developed feelings for and wanted her to achieve her dreams. And, you know, like, she didn't feel like a joke to me.
And even when there was moments where, like, the mannerism of the acting may have seemed over the top, we learned that Hannah was a drag queen.
Yeah.
Hannah is over the top.
Yeah.
They're not,
and a lot of trans women have discovered their transness through drag. Like, that is a very realistic thing to happen and portray.
And I think the thing that matters kind of most in this is that Shakina Nafak, who is the voice actor for Hannah, praised Hannah as a character.
Amazing.
And Nafak is a big activist for trans community. So I'm like, if someone like that is saying that this character is a good representation, then I'm gonna trust and believe that they're a good representation.
I agree. You know,
Hell yeah.
If my trans sisters believe that it's a good representation and they're not mad at it, then, you know, I'm going to believe them. But also, if they say that it is, then I will change my opinion and listen and try to educate myself to understand why they didn't appreciate it.
And I agree. So that was great. We waste no time in getting to the main plot of this because we find the baby right away.
Oh, man. They're like trying to find like some sort of book collection or something. They're like, it was here the other day, and then it's like, wah! And you're like, oh no.
They're dumpster diving and they find the wrong kind of treat.
Yeah, you could say so.
I used to dumpster dive. I found a lot of cool shit dumpster diving. I still got a bunch of retro game systems that I found dumpster diving.
Wow.
But I would be very upset if I found a child.
That's one thing you hope you don't find while you're dumpster diving. That and like a dead body.
Yeah.
Or just like a piece of a body.
I think that would probably be worse, to be honest.
I was like, what would be worse? Would it be finding the whole body or finding a piece of the body?
A piece, because the whole body, you're like, you know, maybe they just climbed in here and died, but a piece, there's something nefarious going on for sure.
There's something, definitely like
just a wiener, and you're like, why is there a wiener?
Why is there a dick?
But yeah, Hannah straight up is like, God has given me this child, I will raise it. And then I'm like, girl, no, I know what you want to be a good person with this, but this child needs to go to a hospital. It's been in a dumpster for who knows how long.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming not very long if it's, you know, December.
It depends how bundled up it was. It looked pretty bundled. But they finally like convince her to like give it up, but she wants to wait till the next day. Which is where we get some backstory on Jin. About he used to be a famous cyclist that threw the match to win some money, and then he got screwed, and then his wife and daughter died. And you're like, damn, bro.
Yeah, he was doing the match to win money to help pay for his daughter's medical bills. I think was what it was.
Something like that. And then it all goes to hell, and all of his family dies. And I'm like, you know, sometimes life just throws so much shit at you, you just give up.
Yeah.
And then it's the next day, and Hannah is still not ready to let this child go.
No, she's not.
She makes a comment that makes me kind of get it, because she's like, the foster system sucks, which is true. I know some kids that had a rough ass time in the foster system. Thankfully, Hannah's like, all right, we're going to find the parents instead. We've got this key. We go to this train station deposit box. We open it up. We go through their stuff. We find photos. We find some references. We find a business card to like this club. Miyuki finds some panties and is like, dang, can't keep warm in these. And they're like,
love that part.
Purple and lacy.
Oh, man.
So they decide to go to this club, and they're on the train. And Miyuki like looks across to another train because they get stopped because of like snow on the tracks or whatever. And she sees her dad, and she's like, fuck.
And does the very reasonable reaction of
climbing
out the train window.
Fuck away. Yeah. Everyone goes with her. And a lot of this movie is just them yelling at each other over like each other's backstories and motivations with both life and this baby, which at times got a bit annoying. But at least it was done usually in like a comedic way in the end.
It's like a comedic family squabble.
Yeah. But then they come across a dude getting run over by his own car.
Yes, you do.
Our first miracle. Turns out this is the owner of the club they're looking for. And this guy actually wasn't a dick. He apparently is like some crime boss, but he's like not judging them for their situation or how they smell. He offers them access to his party, food, drink, good times. Like, hell yeah.
I know, it's so nice.
But that is quickly cut short because the next scene is fucking wild. because Jin sees the dude who like ruined his life with like the betting stuff and like goes to attack him with a bottle, but then a literal assassin shows up to shoot the mob boss, and then the dude jumps in front and like gets all rat-a-tat-a-tatted up. And then, well, you like that? Rat-a-tat-tatted up?
It just makes me think of the Fall Out Boy song.
I don't know which one you're talking about.
It's okay. I'm sure not many people do.
And you're like, damn, that's intense. But then the shooter grabs Miyuki and the baby and kidnaps them. And I was like, what?
What the fuck is going on?
What is this movie? I thought this was going to be like a wholesome Christmas movie, but now we're having murder?
There's like gang crime and attempted assassinations. Someone's getting run over by their own car.
So we learn from some people and the photos they found that the girl used to be, the one in the photos used to be a stripper or a dancer at one of the clubs.
Something like that, yeah.
And she got pregnant and fell in love, so she quit the club. And I appreciate the fact that we are not hours into this before we get some fucking leads. We are getting leads consistently through. It's good. Mm-hmm. But we cut to Jin, and he finds a dying man.
This man is like, looks rough.
And so he like takes him into like his home and takes care of him until he passes away. But it's a really funny moment because he's like, one more thing for my final wish. And he like gives him a drink. He's like, looks like he's dead. And Jin's like, oh, and goes to like close his eyes. And the guy's like, one more drink for my final wish.
It feels like there's for those who like listen or watch The Mighty Boosh, like there's a scene where I don't remember his name, but the gorilla and Michael Fielding, his character, like is dying. And so the gorilla goes to like cover his body because he's dead. And he goes, nope. He pulls it back and goes, oh. And then like, it's just going back and forth of like, I'm dying. Oh, no, I'm not. Oh, yeah, I am. No, I'm not.
And the old man who's dying is doing this like to be funny. Like he's just a funny old dude. And then his final thing is to give, I keep saying Jin. His name's Gin. Sorry. Gin.
Oh.
I
thought it was Jin.
Oh, they say Gin in the dub.
Ironically, what I'm also drinking. Just kidding, it's rum.
And he gives him this little bag and he says, this is my greatest secret and regret. We don't see anything about it at all at that point. He just gives him the bag and then he dies. And you're like, oh, that was both a fun and sad scene. Mm-hmm. And then
immediately tone changes.
Yeah, because we're jump scared by titty.
I know. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was Hannah's. I thought Hannah was trying to breastfeed this child.
For a second, I thought it was Miyuki, and I was like, oh, good Lord. And then it was the kidnapper's wife.
Yes.
The assassin's wife.
Because she has a baby of her own.
Correct. So she's like breastfeeding both of them at the same time.
Man, what a champion. Girls helping girls. This is the kind of women helping women that we like to see.
No, but it is legitimately, because in that scene, they're like talking about life and how both their parents are police officers and they don't want to go back to them. And it's very like wholesome in the connection they're having.
She's Latina.
They don't speak the same language.
They don't speak the same language at all, but it's really cool that they have this moment of communication beyond language and they're able to connect and find kind of like sisterhood almost.
Yeah, and I was not expecting that from her being kidnapped.
I know, it was like the most wholesome kidnapping.
Yeah, but then we get fucking jump scared again when we jump back to like Jin getting his fucking ass kicked by these teenagers who are like, we're going to take out the trash. But they're also beating up the already dead old man, not realizing he's already dead.
I feel like
And I was really hoping they were going to get their comeuppance where they like realized, oh shit, we just killed this guy. They didn't do that, and they should have, because those fuckers deserve some fucking emotional trauma for the rest of their goddamn lives.
Oh, hell yes. Be like, remember that time that we murdered an old homeless man in the park? No, Johnny, we don't talk about that.
Miyuki and this lady, like you said, they're bonding. And then we learn that she stabbed her father, and that's when she ran away. And at first I was like, damn. But then, this is going to sound so bad.
Oh, man.
I learned that she stabbed her dad because he like got rid of her cat.
and you would do the same thing.
A moment I was like, if someone ever like broke into my home and took one of my cats or something while they were stealing my shit, I would become
John Wick.
Fucking
because that's how John Wick starts.
Wick in a fucking second. But then I was like, no, you can't stab your dad because of that. Don't steal your children's pets, folks. We jump to some kind of comedy.
I think
Jin is laying beaten to shit. Hannah and Miyuki hear ambulance being called for a dead homeless man. So they run freaking out, find the other guy and go, oh, never mind. And then Gin sees an angel who turns out to be the singer of a club. And she's like, would you like time with me or an ambulance? And he goes, ambulance. And she's like, wow, rude. Except, again, with more miracles and the city just working their magic. It turns out that Hannah happens to know this club. And she, I guess, was married and was a singer there and then left after some dude was homophobic to her. So she beat the crap out of him.
That was great. Punch homophobes. Sorry.
Yeah. And then in a great found family moment, her quote unquote mother, as I believe they're called, is like, get the fuck in here. I love you. You could never do anything wrong. What do you mean you're homeless? I'm so sorry. Please let me help you.
Oh, it is really great. It's true. But like, that's the thing. Is like, that's okay. We're going to go talk about drag culture for a second. Voguing and ballroom culture and stuff like that. Like, it is this whole thing of chosen family because it's all these people who've been rejected by their biological families for being gay or trans or whatever. And it's them going out and finding these people. And then it's like, once you find your chosen family, you're bonded for life. Like, this is why we have, you know, the House of Libasia and things like this. Like,
yeah.
It's great. I don't think people understand fully how closely knit and how ride or die gay people's chosen families are.
Oh yeah. Real ride or die.
Mm-hmm.
And like mother in this is just like so kind. She's like, look, we just paid the guy off a little bit. It wasn't a big deal. Like, you didn't need to leave. Like, we love you. Everyone loves you here.
Come back. And then we also learn about Hannah's partner.
Oh, yeah. How he slipped on a bar of soap and died.
I know. It was kind of funny that, like, it's like, again, that very dark humor of like, was it AIDS? It's like,
she literally, the mother's like, was it AIDS? Which, like, is a legitimate thing
to ask. Real thing. Like, we're still living in the AIDS crisis and stuff like that of the 80s and the 90s.
And she's not asking to be rude or assuming it's because of that. She's asking because it's a real world possibility.
It absolutely is a possibility.
And she's like, no, and then you're like about to be like, oh, that's really dark. And then she's like, nah, he slipped on soap. And you're like, girl, I'm laughing, but I shouldn't
with my emotions.
It's not actually funny. But there's some little mention that maybe Hannah's in love with Gin. But they don't really expand on that very much.
No. It's just kind of like a little like, are they? Are they?
But in the next day, in a moment of, again, the city and miracles, they just happen to be walking past the home that's in the photos, and it's like burnt down.
Yeah.
And like super trashed. And we learned from neighbors that there was some gambling debts and they left 3 months ago. And so also, okay, Hannah keeps coughing up blood, which is very concerning.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Moulin Rouge. I know that's not a good thing.
No. And like, Gin's having a crisis over this story because it's a little too close to home for him. Because he now feels like a bit of a deadbeat dad. Because it turns out he lied. His family's still alive. And he was just trying to like fit in more with like a darker story.
Well, I also think it's shame. I also think he definitely experiences shame. And it was easier for him to tell people like, oh, they're dead, rather than like, I did a lot of gambling and really fucked up.
If the hurt needed to keep going, Miyuki calls her dad just to hear his voice.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, poor girl.
And she's like practicing before she even calls.
Lindsay, why are we talking about so much sad stuff for a Christmas Eve episode?
Because it's such a happy film with there's so many miracles that happen. And
it does get better with lots of happy moments, but damn, y'all, if you're listening, we're sorry if you're a little sad.
Listen,
we swear
I'm drinking rum and eggnog. I'm feeling great.
Well, regardless, there's no time for feeling bad because all of a sudden an ambulance crashes into the store they're hanging out with.
This was so wild.
Like, what? What the fuck does this have to do with anything going on?
Well, and also the fact that the shopkeeper came up and was like, can you guys stop loitering? There's other people who want to come sit here. And so he like walks them out. And then that's when the ambulance runs into exactly where they were sitting.
But of course, this does prompt them to like go to the hospital because technically a, rebel and stuff banging on your head and he just got beat up. So like, understandable.
Yeah. Well, and also Hannah collapses.
Oh, right. That's what it is. Right. And then again, miracle. Turns out that their nurse is Gin's daughter.
Yeah. Do you expect that to happen?
No. And they're bonding, but Hannah is not having a good time with this because, like, his true backstory is coming out about how he actually wasn't a famous bicyclist. He just owned a bike shop.
Yep.
And he got into a bunch of debts. So he left his family instead. They didn't leave him. He left them. And she's so fucking pissed about this, which, like, I understand. Her whole big thing is wanting a family. And she thought this guy had no family. And it turns out he does. She's pissed that, first off, he lied, which, like you'd said, like, sometimes people have their reason for lying.
Mm-hmm.
But you can still understandably be pissed at that.
Well, I think it's because she was so honest with him.
Yeah.
That I think she just felt kind of betrayed in terms of that trust.
Yeah, exactly, which is fair. And she decides to leave the group because she's going to take the baby to the police now. She's like, I'm done trying to find its home, taking it to the police. And then, holy shit, in the ultimate miracle of all, Hannah ends up saving a woman who's about to commit suicide.
Yep.
And turns out to be the baby's mother.
I know. They're like, oh, you're from the picture. Like, we have your baby. Not gonna lie, I laughed really hard at this part. I know it's a weird sentence to say, but it's just like, it's Hannah and Miyuki walking down the street, and there's like this woman who just like takes her shoes off and climbs up onto this edge, and then she like goes off screen. You're like, are we just going to walk past this woman who's obviously going to commit suicide? And then there's that beat, and then Hannah and Miyuki are like, no, 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 no. It was all just in terms of like the cinematography and how they chose to present that imagery was or that information was just very funny to me.
Yes, not a funny situation, but a very well delivered comedic in a dark moment. Something that Satoshi Kon does very well.
Mm-hmm.
But they just like give her the baby because the mother's like, the father stole it from me and threw it in the trash and then left me. And I've been looking for it ever since. And I was finally just going to give up and throw myself off this bridge. Mm-hmm. And I was like, damn, wow.
Brutal.
They gave her back baby. Mm-hmm. And then I looked at the timestamp and we still had 30 minutes left.
You're like, hang on.
And I was like, oh, is there just going to be some like big celebration for them that takes 30 minutes? Nah, motherfucker, because Jin goes off to look at the address he got from the fucking burnt down house and finds the fucking husband. And the husband is like, no, I left her because she lost her baby. And her response, and again, we can't always control our trauma responses, but her response was to go and steal a baby from a hospital.
I'm just going to say postpartum depression really fucks you up.
Absolutely. But at the same time, don't steal other people's babies. But they gave her the baby.
Yeah.
And then they see Jin and he's like, that's not her baby.
No, 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 no.
And we get this very comical chase scene.
It is very funny.
Where like they're on foot, they're on bike, the mother steals a truck.
Yeah, just a cube van or whatever. Like,
yeah. So far in this moment, there's been a lot of like, oh, I forgot to mention, we get Miyuki back because Hannah goes and finds her using the same cab driver that drove the kidnapper.
Yeah.
But she keeps using this cab driver that she cannot pay.
Yeah.
And he's just like, faster. And he's like, I just want to go home. She's like, faster. You didn't pay me for the last trip. And she's like, this is more important.
Yeah, exactly.
You're thinking, oh, they're going to catch her. No, Jin clings onto this van and then she crashes the van into a fucking department store and nearly kills the guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Dear Matrix Reloaded, this is how you do a chase scene.
Like, this is insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Because she gets out of the van, she like runs up
she takes the elevator.
She takes an elevator to the top of this building. But during this whole time, they're playing hot potato with this fucking baby. This scene is so stressful.
Oh my gosh. Well, Miyuki with the lungs and cardio of steel just going up all those stairs because she couldn't get the elevator. Holy moly.
Oh, to be 16 again.
Oh my gosh, I wish I had the cardiovascular strength.
But like, Miyuki and this woman make it to the rooftop. She goes to jump. And then her husband on the ground calls out to her like, girl, we can figure this out. I love you so much. And you're like, whew, she's gonna chill out. She kind of goes, oh. And then she jumps anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're like, oh no. And then Miyuki grabs her and you're like,
oh, thank goodness.
Okay. But then the woman sees the baby and hallucinates it saying, please let me go home. And she agrees to give the baby back. And you're like, oh, okay, good. Whew. But then she slips and falls. And you're like, oh shit. But then it's Hannah from the top rope jumping over the fucking edge of this building to grab this baby. Mary Poppinsing it with a street banner that's long enough to give some drift on the fucking air to land safely, which felt a little out of place. But you know what?
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. Exactly. Another fucking miracle. But this whole 15 minutes was so emotionally jarring.
Oh yeah. It's that metronome just going back and forth with your emotions.
Oh my God. But it doesn't end there. Okay.
No.
They have to go to the hospital.
Well, yeah.
First off, the little bag that the old guy gave to Gin turns out has the mega winning lottery ticket in it.
Yep.
And Gin doesn't know this yet. It just gives us, the audience, a view of this ticket in the bag. And it's like 200 million yen, which is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $200,000.
It's a life-changing amount.
And then the parents have their baby, and the police officer is like talking to them about it. And they're like, thank you so much for finding your baby. And he's like, I didn't find it. A group of homeless people found it. And they're like, we want to go speak to them and thank them. And he's like, are you sure? Like,
they're
homeless. And they go, we don't give a shit about that. They saved our fucking baby.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we want to make them their godfathers. Mm-hmm. Which, ding, 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 title of the film.
Whoa, roll credits, baby.
And so they're like, all right, here you go. And he opens the door for them. And it's fucking Miyuki looks over and just goes, Papa? And then we hard cut to the fucking credits with a Japanese Christmas carol and a bouncing fucking Eiffel Tower or the Tokyo Tower. And I'm just like, don't you do this to me. Let me see them.
It's the city celebrating.
I need more closure with her and her papa.
Her papa, father.
Like, Gin gets some closure where his daughter is like, here's my new address and our phone number.
Yeah, I'm getting married.
I want you in my life.
Yeah.
And Hannah gets some medical care and,
gets to be reunited with her family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then this other family gets their baby. And then you see Miyuki and all we get is Papa. And I'm like, no, give me more.
Nope. That's where we're going to end.
That last 15 minutes is so intense. It ends so wholesome because it's right. Just because they're homeless doesn't mean that they're any less worthy of your praise for doing something good.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone gets a little bit of a happy ending. But god damn, did it take some effort to get there. Holy shit.
Man. Yeah, I liked this film because I didn't know what was going to happen. And it just seems very like quirky and I don't know. It's just, it's like this chosen family who's come together to try and do something good.
Oh yeah, don't take my exasperation as thinking this is bad. It's just the exasperation on the constant comedy, trauma, traumedy, comma that's going on. Like, it's just like so much, but it's good. It's a good film.
It's a very good film.
It's such a good film about found family. It touches on topics such as depression, homelessness, transphobia, homophobia. It touches on, like the postpartum depression with this woman having your psyche break and like suicide and stealing a baby and all these heavy topics. But it somehow still manages to be a comedy that ends well with everyone more or less either being where they were before things got fucked up, where they were somewhat happy, or in a situation where things are better for them and they're happier.
Mm-hmm.
And that's friggin' great, because I was so worried this
miracles, everybody.
Oh yeah, like I knew this was a Christmas film. It had to end well. But part of me was so fucking worried it wouldn't. So I'm really glad it did. It's a great film. We'll watch it again. A lot of the stuff, it's like, yeah, maybe I'll watch it. I'll totally watch this again.
Oh yeah.
Like it's a fun film filled with fun, quirky characters that get into a bunch of dark hijinks and handle it in their own comedic ways. And I think it's just, I think it was just a good time.
I think so too.
I would have had a better time if I watched it without taking notes and was like just kind of cuddled up on a couch or something.
It's true.
Just to like take it in one go. But I had to, that's the one downside of watching something like this when you're taking notes, because I didn't get a chance to watch it twice, is that you have to write it with the idea of being on a podcast. You have to write your notes because you have to have things to talk about. You have to talk about the emotions you felt. You have to talk about hey, am I an asshole for thinking you're wrong for stealing a baby moments? Like, you need to take note of that. You can't just take it all in one go. And so I'm going to probably have to watch this again in a couple days just to like really take it in naturally.
Watch it on Christmas Eve.
I don't think my family's going to want to watch this on Christmas Eve. They're not into the weeb shit.
Neither is my family, so.
But aside from that, that's just my own problem. I dig it. I'd tell people to watch it. If you haven't seen it, you should.
I think you absolutely should. And I mean, okay, so what do you think this movie is rated?
It's Satoshi Kon, which people both love and hate, but a lot of people love. It's a classic film. I'm going to guess this is rated 8.63.
Oh, you're a little too high. It is 8.28.
Okay, so still in the 8s, though.
Yeah, absolutely, as it deserves to be.
I would personally give it probably like, once I rewatch it, I'm sure this will go up. But I would probably give it like a nice 8.23.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think with that, we're probably going to wrap this episode up because we got to go do Christmas shit. So thank you all for listening. I wish you all a happy holidays, and I hope you enjoy every little bit of it with people you love, with, delicious Christmas holiday meals and things like that. We are Animates across all socials. We would love if you give us a follow and, talk with us. Have you seen this film? Is it in your Christmas rotation? Let us know. We want to know. And we also have a YouTube channel, which is really cool. We release videos on there, short form, long form, all kind of rad stuff that you should definitely check out. And if that's not enough for you, we also have a Patreon. Ooh, Patreon. Ooh, yes. We have free tiers. We have paid tiers. All of it kind of just helps us to produce this and, give you wonderful weekly content. And if you subscribe to certain tiers, you get your name right out on the podcast. So, Mackenzie, who's in those tiers right now?
Based off of our listening stats, I want to get something real quick before I read off some names here. Which is about our Patreon. We have an episode coming out in a couple days on our Patreon that is for members only, free and paid. Of course, we appreciate all of our members, but the ones that give us a couple of their dollary dues, you really do help us out. And as a gift for our patrons, we got a Patreon, well, partially a gift, partially also, I don't think we can put this on Spotify.
Oh, we definitely can't.
We have an episode that has a video component and an audio component that is a bonus episode that is the absolute most batshit crazy ecchi we've ever watched on this podcast.
I can't believe you. I can't believe what you made me watch.
Look, there are things that happen in that I can never unsee.
There are things that come out of orifices in that I can't unsee either.
So make sure to check out our Patreon to get access to that bonus episode on the 27th. Speaking, though, as Lindsay mentioned, our paid supporters, we've got our supporting characters, which this week we've got a new supporting character.
Ooh.
Aladorus.
Ooh, what a great name. Aladorus.
So thank you for that. Also, shout out to our retro cuties. And moving on to our Chibi Champions, we've got Swamp Wizard chilling out all alone in that Chibi Champion swamp. So maybe go pledge at that level and join them. But moving on to our Nostalgia Wizard tier, we've got Butler Rat.
Heck yeah. What's up, Butler Rat? Oh no, what's the name?
The first half, of course, for animated context, because they are double dipping on the Patreons. We've got Butler Rat heard someone say Misaka wants Railgun Season 2 for the birds, as per usual, for the charity they got going on.
Perfect.
But also, Gunbuster do be busting guns, but also have fans busting nuts.
Oh no.
With that Jung underboob, I'm assuming.
Oh, that what was it? The Gynax bounce?
The Gynax bounce.
bounce.
So thank y'all so much for being members on our Patreon. It really does go a long way helping to cover costs and give us, some extra help with making more content.
Recording equipment and software and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. Also, we just posted an update on the Patreon that has a list of some upcoming goals for patrons, which include a bunch of giveaways, extra bonus content out the wazoo, So yeah, the more patrons we get, the more giveaways we can do. And this includes retro VHS, trinkets, plushies,
Mackenzie
retro
socks.
manga. If someone wants them and they pledge high enough, you can have them. But yeah, so yeah, patreon.com/animates.
Woo! Well, with that, everybody, we wish you Merry Christmas to all and to all a
Merr
good night.
Crimmus.
And I hope you all get stuffed. And that's not right.
We hope you get stuffed this Christmas Eve.
But yes, thank you, everybody. Merry Christmas. We will see you next week when Mackenzie is hosting for a very special New Year's. And before that, go check out whatever the hell we had to watch that is going to be on Patreon. Anyways, until then, ciao, ciao!
Merr Crimmus.
Merry Chrysler! Happy Toyotathon!